Hey everybody, this is the BS Podcast Network. I'm Ben Dorst.
Steven Dominguez.
At least this show is better than pure BS.
What?
What are you? I'm Batman.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. I'm Batman.
Name's Bond. James Bond.
I'm Batman.
Bond. James Bond.
I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
This is the Batman vs. James Bond show. The show covering everything related to Batman and James Bond movies. And now, here's your host, Brian Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to an all-new episode of the Batman vs. James Bond show. The name's Thomas, Brian Thomas, and I am your host. And this is the show where we discuss everything related to Batman and James Bond movies. It's great to be back. Oh, yeah. I hope all of you have had a fantastic week. Mine was, how do I say it? It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing. And because it was so amazing, I'm not going to be doing this show by myself this week. I'm bringing in a guest. Yes, he's been back. He's decided to grace us with his presence. Let's bring him on in. Mr. Brad Behles is back to join us. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you. I'm not the guest that you want. I'm the guest that you deserve.
That's right. Yeah. Everybody else was booked. That Stan Lee was booked this week. Oh, wait a minute. That's Marvel. The Arrow universe, they were all booked. They're all up in New York and stuff. And Ben Affleck and Zack Snyder just finished up on Justice League, but we'll talk about that later. So, yeah, no, it's always great to have you back. What's funny is for those of you that didn't have a chance to listen to Brad and I on our episode for Baltimore Comic-Con. Yeah, we talked Baltimore Comic-Con, and needless to say, we're going to be talking something similar tonight, so just a fair warning anyway. But, yes, it's great to have you back, Bradley.
Nerd out, let's be honest.
Just throw it. It's like a disclaimer. We have to throw that out there. Nerds, you've been warned. Every other listener, well, oh well. No, I'm kidding. No, everybody will love this. We have a great show for you. It's going to be an excellent show. I promise you that. Or money back guaranteed, because you didn't pay anything for this episode. So
it's a win-win.
That's right. Yeah. So just a reminder that the Batman vs. James Bond show can be found on the BS Podcast Network. You can find my show and a bunch of all other great shows on there, bspodcastnetwork.com. So let's get down to business, Bradley. I have you on here because, you and I decided to make a trip. It's now become a yearly thing because we've done this 2 years in a row. And, we are talking once again about a Comic-Con, but this isn't just any Comic-Con. This is probably the,
prime.
One of the
the USDA grade A almost.
All right. Okay.
It ain't San Diego. We haven't gotten there yet, but
we did talk about that last night, though, at midnight. Yeah, we've had a long 24 hours, folks. Let me just tell you. So we might sound a little tired, might sound a little winded, but we're going to press on through. Yes, at the time of recording, we just got back from New York Comic Con. Yes, you were going to. It's not, you still get the same episode every Monday, but we're recording this a little bit earlier because of our schedules this week. And we definitely, I don't know about you, Brad, but I'm still hyped. I still have that high from all of this because it still hasn't sunk in that everything had happened.
Yeah, pretty much. As it's still in their system, you're still hyped up. Your adrenaline's still going. It's like, I'm still hyped and nerding out about all the things we've seen, the comics, the cosplayers, the panels, the news that's still going through our Instagrams and social media. It's still popping up. I'm still checking it like every 2 seconds. Like, all right, what I missed? That was awesome there. And posting up there, going through all my photography and going through all my pictures I got and realizing, wow, I took way more than I thought I did.
Yes.
Well, you're still in that mode where it's like, oh my God, nerds everywhere, and it's awesome.
Yeah, we kind of felt at home, and just to go back to like, all right, sure, there's Comic Cons out there. Believe me, we love Baltimore Comic Con. Yes. Brad's going to come next year with me to Awesome Con that I went to in May. Every Comic Con, I would say, and this is very cliche, it has its own charm, I think. Would you agree with that?
Especially Baltimore. Baltimore. Wink,
okay.
Wink, nudge, nudge. Baltimore, especially being a little bit more on the lower key side compared to New York. It's a little bit more intimate. a lot more cosplayers in terms of creativity that we're actually able to see. With New York, it's the show basically.
Yeah,
everybody's there, but it's hard to really find some of the people there unless you just happen to run into them because they could be off on the other side of the convention center in Artist Alley.
Mm-hmm.
But even the really professional ones come and showcase their stuff like right there.
Mm-hmm.
All the main guys are always there. Brought to the DC and Marvel, and they're in full force. Valiant Comics are there in full force. Dark House Comics are in there in full force. Even the lower guy, even the indie guys, they get their own booth and they set it up. Like ones we saw today was like Treadwater. We got to see those guys today.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we'll be talking about that definitely.
Exactly. But
I guess
it is the show. Is what I like to. Is pretty much the way I summarize it up. It's like New York Comic Con. It is the show. It's 4 days. Sometimes you feel like you need those days just to see everything.
Right. I don't know how big that convention center is. It's the Jarvis Center, I believe it is called. And
the Jacob Jarvis Center.
Right. It is. I mean, it has so many different levels on there. I mean, it takes one escalator just to get up just to a food court there. Actually, I think there's almost like 2 food courts in a way. And when we got there, we mind you, everybody, we took a bus trip and we left the Baltimore metro area probably about 6 a.m., give or take, and got up there by 10:30, with traffic. And when we got up there, I mean, you could just see, even on our bus, you could just see people were already dressed. There was a Harley Quinn cosplay already on there. Mm-hmm. And Brad and I are like, okay, we're not going to get too excited yet because we know that we're going to see lots of Harley Quinns. Needless to say,
exactly.
the boys and the girls, they love Harley Quinn, especially the new Suicide Squad Harley Quinn. And
I mean, right now there is already that meme picture out there, and I think it's like a Homer Simpson at the bar, and he's like, how Halloween's going to be this year? It's Harley, but all the girls have just like Harley Quinn's face all over, and Homer's like, hey. I mean, we're calling it right now. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do love a good Harley, but
no.
It's gonna be the main theme for this year. Let's be honest.
Exactly, and I think that even when we were on the bus, we're just like, okay, she did a great cosplay. But I just knew that when we got there to New York, to the New York Comic Con, I'm like, that bar is going to be set even higher, and it's not meant as an insult. It's just like, the big boys came to play. The big girls came to play. And it's pretty clear, and you've talked about this before, that just, I mean, the models, in a way, they come out. And, I'll let you go ahead with that.
Sure. So especially the professional models out there and the professional cosplayers, they're there in full force, not only just on the showroom floor, but even at the booths, because they may have been maybe working at the booths, have been paid to be there, to be a booth babe, and even push their stuff as well, like the prints, and be like, hey, come by, check me out at this booth via social media and on their pages and everything else. But we're over here, we're promoting these guys, you should totally come by, just at least say hi and something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they bring their whole costumes. They're like, for all 4 days, here's what I'm wearing, here's what I made, and all their things in full force. And to the fans, it's nice to go out and at least see them, be like, hey, cool, and be interacting with them. Again, it's only brief because, let's be honest, there's a line behind you to see them as well.
Uh-huh.
So,
yeah, and I think you could name a few names of people that were out there at the booths.
Ones we got to see, and we're very grateful because they were so nice. Jessica Nagiri, you can't go wrong with. Obviously, she's so nice, so dorky as well.
Mm-hmm. Brad and another friend of ours is a big fan. They're fans, huge fans.
Yeah. Holly Wolf as well, who's there pulling off her Sam. It was very nice to meet her as well. Actually, I think we crossed by her a few times, but
like twice, I think, give or take. And it wasn't intentional either. It's just that.
All right, now we can take an actual picture.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, that's the thing. And we're going back, and we're even looking on social media at this, and we're just like, we didn't know that they were there. We didn't know that this person was there. And it's just like, all right, for example, the cosplay for, we know this one, Peter Griffin. We're familiar with that. Almost everybody is. The guy looks really like the Peter Griffin from Family Guy. And I'm like, Brad, did you know he was there? It's like, no. He's like, hey. Like, I had no idea.
Yeah. I looked around, and it wasn't until looking at social media where they're like, oh, yeah, real life Peter Griffin is actually here. I'm like, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know he was there.
No, I have no idea he was there. No.
Shows up.
I mean, here's what separates us from, like, I guess the different, I mean, why we go to Comic-Con. You and I go for 2 reasons. We go for the cosplay.
Yes.
And we go for the collectibles.
Collectibles, comics.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever really...
Impulse buys.
Like, there's always something... Yeah. There's always something that we find that's like, oh, I'm looking for this year. If we can find it, it'd be great. I'm always looking for my vintage video games. Maybe a good comic here and there that they have out.
Signatures, meet the artist.
And the figurines. Yes, exactly.
Hey, I didn't buy any figurines this time. In my defense, I did not buy any figurines this time. No. But I bought everything else but that. Yeah. All right. Well, all right. That's just... I guess we might as well just jump ahead here. What did you end up buying? What did Bradley Behles get this time at New York Comic Con? Because I remember when we were talking about Baltimore, I'm like, okay, you wanted some things there, and you wanted, I believe it was Spider-Gwen. You want something. I don't remember what it is. I'll let you go ahead, but I was just going to say that I told you, I was like, okay, you could buy it now, but chances are, because New York Comic Con is New York Comic Con, there's probably going to be even more of that stuff up there and stuff that's even more rare. So I'll let you go ahead with that.
Sure. So this year, as with any Comic Con, a lot of it comes down to just kind of impulse buys, especially, that you go around and be like, oh, I see that. I kind of want that now because I don't know if I'm going to remember to come back around to get it later. Case in point, we found one vendor where actually you were looking at the shirts. They had the exclusive convention-only covers for the DC Rebirth series comics that they had out. These were the silver / holographic variants. There was the Batman Beyond one I picked up, and the Trinity, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman comic they were doing, that they were in that holographic cover variant, which is rare to even see. Apparently they only sell them at conventions, and I was able to pick up those two. They had a bunch of Suicide Squad, but there was one dude over there that was kind of hoarding them, so I was like, okay, I'll just use these and I'll go because I'm paying $15 for one each.
Yeah.
Exactly. Another thing, of course, I picked up was we did walk by the Treadwater booth. Actually, Holly was working that. Holly Wolf was over there, and first year that she's been there, but I wanted to look into it and learn a little bit more about. They had their own graphic novel that they were coming out with, as well. And as we got from the sales pitch, it's like it's a little bit Batman, it's a little bit James Bond in there, a little bit of Mission Impossible. I'm like, all right, dude, I know your sales pitch is going to go for another like half an hour, but I'm already sold.
To correct you on that, he said Lost, he said Bourne,
okay,
he said of course, yeah, he said Dark Knight. I'm like, shut up and take my money, and he did.
Basically, until I was surprised, like, I don't care. Just here's $20. Give me the damn.
Here's
comic.
30. Here's 30. And what did that price package come with? It came with 2 posters. Came with the signed comic. Came with the pre-sale of the new one, the second one issue to come out, and which should be coming to my house hopefully in the next week or two. And I get like 2 posters. I don't know. I get like a whole bunch of stuff for it. So Brad's like, just like, I just want the first comic. That's all. He's like, well, it's only $20, but for $10 more, you get this.
And I'm like, dude, here's the 20. Yeah. I have this. I have limited space in my bag that I carry around. I don't want to kill myself.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, needless to say, and that's why we're mentioning it on this, because they said Batman. They said Batman. You have my attention there. Okay? So, yeah.
We're done. We're just like, I'm sold. But again, we support the indie guys, so that's why. Especially, it's an independent comic, so I do with that. Getting around a couple comics. Spider-Gwen, of course, I look around. I did, luckily enough, go around to Artist Alley, meet up with Robbie Rodriguez himself, and had him sign, so I was very grateful of that, especially.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Brian next to me is sitting there like, yeah, he's like a kid in the candy store right now. And I'm like, I know, but come on, he's right here.
And then the tables turned just one aisle down, and all of a sudden we see, I look at the corner of my eye, I see, of course, well, there's Batman artist, there, but
yes.
I see the name Scott Snyder. I'm like, Bradley, I know that name. Bradley, stop and turn around. Look what I see. And there's, there's of course the new 52
Batman, comics and everything else. This guy had his booth right there. Unfortunately, he was not there because he was stuck due to the hurricane that's going through right now. So he's stuck in that.
But he did leave us a couple things there, and I am looking at my newly signed copy of Batman Volume 3, Death of the Family, and I got a nice handy certificate there certifying it. And I must
certifying it. The DC logo is on there, saying like this is official.
Certificate of authenticity, and I want to read it, but now I'm like, man, like you said, I don't want it to get ruined because I read it, and all of a sudden the dog gets to it.
Yeah, that's a problem is you go through, and I had this issue actually while we were there. When we were in Baltimore, and I got to see Joseph Michael Linzer, he was able to sign his variation of Harley Quinn's Little Black Book comic that he did the artwork for. Mm-hmm. And, of course, I didn't know at the time that Amy Connor was there at the event who created the new 52 Harley and did also the writing for it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, she's there, but she's going to be at New York. We'll totally go there. And lo and behold, when we get to the time where she has signing booths, we came a little bit later because we were trucking it from the other side of the convention center.
That's how big this is, folks. Again. Yeah, I don't think we can just even talking about it on here unless you've been, then it's just hard to explain.
Walked it.
Yeah, we walked that whole thing, and actually no, we didn't because we didn't go down to where they had the panels.
Panels, and also there are some exhibition booths downstairs too as well.
We usually never check those out. I mean, I'm not. If the panels are your thing, that's awesome because they've had some really good ones there. Stanley making his last appearance there. I saw like a video actually online today, and they're just kind of like brushing him through the Comic-Con. Stay back. And because it's Stanley, he's older, but that would be a great treat to see. And they make a lot of announcements actually at New York Comic-Con.
True.
Yeah.
But the thing I always look at that is like, oh, I could be the one there to see it first at the event, or I could literally just wait a day and it'll be posted like on all the social media, and I've probably already seen 100 more other things at once that are going on the showroom floor.
That's true.
It's kind of that balance of 1 versus 100, or quality over quantity, I guess almost. But I don't really want to do that because there's some good quality cosplayers and vendors out there. So.
Right, and exactly, that's why you and I think we enjoy ourselves so much. One, because there's not many people that we know that are going to want to spend a full 8 hours there or more.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's face it, I set a new record this year. Cue the timpani. I had, according to Bradley, I spent 5 hours in the new Batman cosplay this year with all that armor on there. And I really didn't. I don't think I was bitching about anything at all. I think it was just if something came loose and then you would just roll your eyes. You're fine, man. You're fine. And it
I'm like, come on, good. You can still make it. The only thing I think you were complaining about was you kept thinking one of your back Velcro straps had come on.
One fell off. One fell off. Yeah.
Nah, it was fine.
I checked it last night at midnight when I was packing into my bag. Sidetrack here. Even the underarm sleeve fell off. Actually, it was actually still all there.
That one, yeah.
But a back one, it looks like it fell off. I think I had 3 on there. But anyway, yeah, no. But no, the Batman cosplay, I would say that it was very successful. Let's move on with this. They had a DC Comics photo shoot there, and majority of them are DC Comics or DC Cosplayers
DC
East.
Universe.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a Facebook group. Definitely check it out if you are a DC fan and you do cosplay. But we just randomly passed by there. There's a guy on there. We'll give him a shout out. His name's Andrew Arkham. Find him on social media. And Bradley's interacting with him.
Andrew Arkham cosplay. Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
Him and the other guys. I cannot remember the other guys' names, and I know because I did this last time, and he corrected me. He was like, last time we were at Baltimore, he did that along with Cosplay Dad, who set that up. This event, I didn't catch the other 2 or 3 guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I just remember either. Andrew.
Yeah, and well, here's the thing about Andrew Arkham cosplay: you can't miss him because of his costume. His
costume really stands out.
Go ahead. Which one is it?
His notable one that you see of him is his new 52 Joker, the Joker mechanic, where it has the face, the skinned face of Joker, but then put back on, especially that mask that he wears. And luckily enough, he has a microphone underneath that, so you can understand him.
Yeah, the microphone. He's very creative with that. That the microphone actually comes out of his chest pocket, and I always thought it was actually out of the mask. But anyway, it was really cool. Once again, got to do some more photo shoots there, and. Yeah, and you like I said, I've always say this about with the cosplayers and just the Comic Cons. Not one time did I feel like there was a jerk there at all. I mean, there was a Spider-Man and we were kidding around. He's like, "Where are the bat nipples?" I'm like, "Hey, go do some squats, Spidey." And then we come back down another aisle, and then all of a sudden we're like, "Hey guys," or "Hey man, great costume. Oh, it looks great," and just we get along, and it's just. This is one of the few things where just an event that sure you can go to a sporting event, you can even go to a movie, but there's something about these conventions that everybody is there for the exact same reason. We might not be fans of all the same thing, but we can all get along. If you want to get a picture, like Bradley and I, we would say, "Hey, can we get a picture of you?" and so forth. Or I'll go up and
"Oh yeah, sure."
Yeah, I'll go up to Jason Voorhees and in my Batman costume. "Hey, Jason, can I get a picture with you? I got a great idea." Speaking of which, Bradley, I'm going to let you take this one because I know you love it. Go ahead. We ran into a favorite among ours, Deadpool. Especially you. Yes, Deadpool. I'll let you tell them about it.
Sure. So, especially when it comes to creativity, I'm always a fan of people who have really creative ideas and like to really get into a character, but put a little bit of a humorous spin on things, shall we say. And there was a Deadpool there of one of many, of course, who was doing kind of corporate suits Deadpool as well. He even had a matching Pop Vinyl figurine to go with it, as reference. But he wanted to get a picture with Batman, but he had an idea. It's like, I have a good pose, but I want to do this correctly. So he then he's like, but here's going to be the weird thing is, I want to choke you. And right there, both Brian and I go confused, like, okay, where are we going with this?
Yeah.
Because we're about to, I don't know what kind of idea you're thinking of. And he's like, hold on. Let me show you what I'm thinking here.
Mm-hmm.
He then pulls out of his pocket a collar. On the collar, it says,
Puddin'.
Like, oh, he's going to choke you out with Harley Quinn's choker necklace.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, let's do this.
Yeah, let's make this happen. The picture will be posted at Batman vs. Bond. Yes. It was taken by Bradley. It is priceless. It is one of the best things. It was a highlight of our day. We couldn't stop talking about it because it was just that creative. And the guy was really friendly. Go ahead.
It's just those spontaneous moments that you have in cosplay, which people have all the time. I even saw a video on Instagram where a crowd of Deadpools got together and they were just wandering around, and for some reason they found one Harley and they decided to just crowd around her. And I feel sorry for her because she was probably just felt so awkward, just oh please tell me they don't do anything, but they just grouped around Harley, hi Harley, can we get a hug? Group hug, everybody.
Yes. Yeah, and
it's just silly things like or just stuff like that. You on two separate sides of the world. You may live in California, New York, even Kansas, but you come here, some random stranger, but you both are in cosplay and you're all there to have fun.
Right.
Nothing, crazy. Just enjoy your time there. So why not make them, if you want to do something silly, be silly. You're in a freaking costume, for God's sakes.
Exactly. And that's what's so fun about this is now Bradley and I were talking about this. Sure, we have some great cosplay pictures that we'll be sharing with you. There's other Batmans there. There's Supermans. There's, I do another one I want to point out too. Now I'm looking through it. There was, just for the silliness of it all, a reverse, Jabba the Hutt and Slave Leia. Yeah.
Couple of shots where the husband was Slave Leia and the wife was Jabba the Hutt in an inflatable suit.
Yeah, that was a good one. The Back to the Future, Darth Vader one.
Darth Vader, yes.
Yes. It was perfect.
And the camcorder.
Yes. Yeah.
Spot on.
I guess while we're talking about favorite cosplays, I will say that there was how would I describe it? Yeah, Aquaman. Aquaman was definitely.
Oh.
So there's a section in the convention center that you just go, and now that we've learned where this is, I don't know. I think it's one of the top levels, as a matter of fact, and right by almost by that little food court there, and you can enter through there into the main convention, it's
basically the main entrance from the street level. It's the main entrance that goes in and out from the street level,
right,
on the little concourse area that just goes above the food court area.
Right.
So that little awning space, which is great lighting because it's all has glass lighting in there, so it does come in. You get a good crowd. But this Aquaman,
we saw him, and then he saw me, and then he's like, "Can I don't remember what kind of accent he was. He was a really sweet guy, and
I want to say almost Swedish. I want to say he had to be.
Actually, I think you're right. And he was more of an old school Aquaman. He was the old rendition of the comic books, and
he was fabulous Aquaman is what he was.
He was. And then he also had the, I don't know, I'd say 5-foot seahorse.
Yes.
Or this gold seahorse with some blue feathers coming out of it. And he just pulls this thing all around. And it was great. I think it's probably one of my favorites looking back. He was definitely awesome. I saw Pikachu there. I picked a fight with Pikachu.
Yes,
I had to. I don't know. And that's the thing, folks. When sometimes you just come up with these random ideas. Batman versus Pikachu? Well, Batman can take on a T-Rex. Why not Pikachu? I mean, gotta catch them all, right? Let's see. There was Darth Maul there. Not Darth Maul. Sorry, Kylo Ren. Same difference. Anyway.
Kylo Ren, yes.
Yeah, Kylo Ren was great. We got the Jason voice.
The Kylo Ren with the sign on his back that says, "Looking for lightsaber training." My grandfather said I should take it up.
That was great. Yeah, there was...
I do want to point out another one that you're going to agree with, that we saw just Adam Ramley walking down one of the aisles, the V for Vendetta, with the sign holding for the election this year.
Oh, I forgot about that.
He has an X over Trump and Hillary. It says, "This November, make the right choice." Pointing to V for Vendetta.
It was great. Remember the 5th of November. Yeah, good stuff. And here's another one I was thinking up. I just found it. It's remember we were going through after the bag check, and I had taken my cowl off. And mind you, folks, that cowl, it does get pretty hot in there. It really does, especially when you're wearing it on and off again. And I took it off. I'm like, yeah, we just want. This is that time of the day, 5 hours later, where we just want to go and look at all the vendors, and we want to start, spending the money that we don't have. Yeah, the time for impulse buys. And then I'm like, what's going to happen is I'm going to take this off for 5 minutes, and I'm going to see somebody that I want to get a picture with, or somebody wants to get a picture with me. Well, lo and behold, who is there but Bane? And I hadn't seen a really good Bane that I liked, and this is like a legitimate Bane. And
yes.
I would say he's more like the Batman and Robin Bane, but done well.
He did the animated series Bane is what he did. And
right.
He was a big individual, like he was jacked and he had the body for it. But you were setting like, I just want him to break my back.
And I literally said that to him. He didn't know what to do with that. I'm like, Bane, can I get a picture with you? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, I just want you to break my back. He's like, what? I'm like, all right, well, maybe not break my back because it's kind of hard probably to lift me or to lift up in this suit. But I was like, can just choke me or something, just do something. And Harley Quinn's there sitting there laughing, and it was great. It was awesome. And and here's another thing. It's very kid friendly. There was a lot of families out there, and they would do like the husband and wife and Brad, I think you're thinking the same one I am, of the Batman and Batgirl. Husband and wife, and they had a little baby Robin, like literally their little baby, like almost, it looked like a newborn, honestly. Aww. And it was a Robin dressed up as Robin, a father and a son in a Adam West Batman 66 costume, and Robin. They were there next to me, and I got a picture with them, and they were really awesome. Now, what we didn't expect is that when that happened, we were going to get interviewed. Now,
you got spontaneously attacked, interviewed, shall we say?
This was almost like, am I getting punked right now at Comic-Con?
Basically.
It really feels like. To make a long story short, there was this gentleman, and I don't know how to describe him there, Brad. It was like this crew, and it looks like it was like a college crew in a way, but
it was a college crew, or it had to be a comedian, because we know it's like he's not taking this seriously, or his producer on the side there who's playing with a football is not taking this seriously.
Right. For anybody who's ever seen just like David Letterman, or just like what's his name, Jimmy Kimmel,
Jimmy Kimmel, or those, they have like on the street with their correspondent, and they do a random, vox populi right there of like, hey, me do this, but it's always spun in like a humorous manner so that whatever you say is going to be humorous to the audience, and it's, heavy altered. It was that just happened right then and there.
Right. Yeah, and we're just, like I said, Adam West, Batman, and Robin, we're just getting our pictures taken, and all of a sudden this guy comes up, like the crew comes up, like, we want to get an interview with you, but we're not going to be interviewing you. There's this guy, and his name, he's this bigger guy, and he's wearing just like a half-faced cowl of Batman, and he's in like
big boy. That's what he was.
He was a very big boy. I'm trying to be nice, and he's wearing a blue bow tie, and he's wearing like a chef's outfit, and his sign says Mikey likes it.
he likes it ice cream or something like that. I'm like, oh boy. And
But he's legitimately holding a CBS microphone, and he's doing this interview. And one of his questions was, what should we be on the lookout for when when you're walking the aisles of Comic-Con? And Adam West Batman says something, very friendly, and I pull Ben Affleck out of my ass, and I'm like, beware of freaks dressed as clowns. And I had to. I really had to do it, And then the final part of that interview was like, "Oh yeah, so let's see your touchdown dance." And I'm like, "What?" And yeah, we did the touchdown dances, and Batman and Robin break into their right out of the
cheesy 67 a disco, not disco, like the 60s.
What's from that's actually that was in the movie, or it was either.
Was in the movie.
Yeah, they did the kind of Pulp Fiction. John Travolta dance with
the Pulp Fiction dance. That's exactly what it was. You just pulled the Pulp Fiction dance immediately. You do the cross eyes.
Yeah, and I did it too because I didn't know. Because one thing I don't do, folks, is I don't dance well, if at all, and that was pretty clear. So yeah, but once again, and of course, Bradley has this picture of me giving him the evil eye.
Yeah, you do.
I didn't know I was. I was just I didn't know what to do. I'm just standing there. But yeah, good times. As we wrap it up at Comic-Con, everything there. It's just a lot of good collectibles there. I even found some vintage comics there. I found Batman 89, Batman Returns, and Batman Begins, the official movie adaptations for comics. And these they were $1 a piece. That shows you what you can find there. What's that?
I know. Said you made out like a bandit with that.
I don't know how I did that. Yeah, I really don't know. I found some cool T-shirts there. I found my Arrow Star Labs shirt that Brad knows I've been dying to get.
I think I had to find that for you because the woman working there was like, it's around here somewhere. I'm like, there it is, ma'am. I gotta go. I gotta run to the other side of the stadium.
Oh, that was the Arrow. That was the Arrow shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Arrow shirt. Star Labs. Hey, look, Star Laboratories.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, what do we see leaving? We see nothing but Star Labs, and it's like worth it.
Basically, at that point. Yep.
Anything else that you got there that you wanted to talk about?
I think we pretty much covered it. I mean,
okay.
Cosplay,
yeah. What was your favorite cosplay? I named mine.
Ooh, that's a tough one to do because there was the really good Vega one, the Street Fighter guy. Jack.
He must work out.
Oh, that dude does nonstop lifting. I swear to God, I could probably eat cereal out of his chest cavity. Probably.
Excuse me.
Sorry, I had to put in there for jokes. There was a really well done Legend of Zelda. Someone did the Skull Kid with Majora's Mask and Navi cosplay. It was a group that did that. Mm-hmm. I do want to give a little creativity to the one animated Harley Quinn that you paired up with at one point. She was in the original jumpsuit, animated series. But I
saw what she was carrying. I saw it today, and you know what? I didn't pick up on it. And now that I see it, I really have to give her props. Go ahead.
Yes. So she was holding up a severed head of the Suicide Squad Harley Quinn. So it's like her saying the old one's better than the new, basically is what she was saying.
Yeah.
So that I have to give her props on. Really good during the DC photo shoot, the Enchantress that was there, especially. She got into character really well. And also during that DC booth, I want to say there was another younger cosplayer there who did the Joker, but he did the tuxedo ones you see in the comics, where usually he's dancing with Harley, but he did that and did like the pose, like he was having his hand out to, take my hand and let's dance. But there's a buzzard in his hand.
That was a really good one. Yeah. I would say, I don't know. I keep coming back to the Michael J. Fox Darth Vader one. That sticks in my head really well. So
another one that pops out, and I cannot believe I would shoot myself if I forgot to tell this one. Real early on that we saw, one of the first cosplays we saw was the duo, and this one I posted up on Instagram. The Joker Harley Quinn, but they were in 80s workout clothes.
Yeah.
One up a sign saying "Training to beat Batman." I'm like, you guys win.
They did, yeah. Oh, and they're all over the internet too. Yeah. There was everybody else is giving them props. When we'll give them to the Pokemon guy with the little Pomeranian that I say spray painted yellow.
Oh, he did. He spray painted his Pomeranian yellow, and I know that dude is getting some serious
Pokemon? You mean he's going to catch them all? Is that?
I hope not. Whatever he's catching.
He's catching something. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, good stuff. Anyway, yeah, there. I mean, like I said, we'll tell you one thing that we'll put it out here now because we're recording this and you can throw this back in my face. Next year we will do 2 days at Comic-Con.
Okay.
You need 2 days with something like this, folks. You really do. We will eventually find a way to get to San Diego. Yeah, that's going to be like get him to the Greek. It feels like in a way.
Basically, at that point.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me just sell my soul here as I write it down and everything. Like, all right, book this. Figure out how to book it.
Yeah, I mean, New York's it's an easy 3-hour drive for us, but yeah, and that's what makes and it's one of the bigger 3 I think that are out there, but yeah, just you need 2 days, and maybe another cosplay suit will be in the works by then. So
who knows?
Yeah, but Bradley, while we were away, there was some other news that did take place, and it did happen last week, but there was some other things that were announced because it is Comic-Con weekend, and of course all the big studios are making their announcements. Yeah, Bruce Wayne is Batman. No, I'm kidding.
You're just telling me this now? My God, I have my money on somebody else.
Damn it, Joker. Damn it, Joker. Yeah, I think I announced this last week's show, but I want to make sure we do talk about it a little bit more. Ben Affleck's Batman movie has been announced as he was promoting The Accountant, and he was doing an interview with the Associated Press, and he said that it's going to be simply called The Batman. He said, quoted, let me try this again. Quoted, "The movie I think is going to be called The Batman. At least for now, that's what we're going with. It might change." So during that time, well, first of all, what do you think of that?
And just keep it simple and just be like the Batman. Essentially, because how else is he referred to in, especially Batman v Superman, by like regular people? He's referred to as the Batman. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't do anything for me. I mean, you have 1989, which was just Batman, let's be honest.
Burton screwed everybody when he took that name. He really did.
Yeah, he was like, I called it. Batman, done, walks out.
Yep. Mic drop.
Mic drop.
How do you like
Batman
me now?
Returns.
Yeah. Batman Begins, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin. Yeah. Now it's going to be The Batman. And Nolan took it up a notch when he did The Dark Knight. It's like, I took that one. Now it's going to be Cape Crusader.
I think all the animated series already has that going.
Oh, see? Yeah. Oh, well.
Screwed. We're screwed.
Yeah. Well, for those of you that did not like it, there's still hope. Ben Affleck was backpedaling a little bit in the last day or so when he was doing an interview with E! News. He said, "I mentioned the other day it's been around for a long time. The movie, there's no Batman movie happening yet. We're still trying to figure out, get the script and budgeted, all that stuff." And someone said, "What are you calling it?" And I had said, like back when we were promoting another movie, I said, like, we don't have a name for it. We're just going with the Batman or Batman movie. So once again, it's still being planned out. We don't know. I mean, but when you have the head of Warner Brothers, not just DC Comics, but the DC division, but the head of Warner Brothers saying that it's going to happen in 2018, spring 2018, that is, then I think he probably doesn't want to put too much out there. He just probably wants to keep it kind of a secret, and I don't blame him for that at all. Right. It might just be a working title. I'm very happy with just the Batman. I don't need to, I mean, if he wants to do something like, if he was going along the lines of Batman Arkham, sure, that would be awesome. That'd be great if he did that. I don't think that's exactly what he's going with. And
it just sounds like it's a placeholder is what it is, obviously, and that's just going to call a spade a spade. It's a placeholder because they haven't really come up with a generalized buzzworthy name for it, and then this just, keeps the mass media be like, here's something to work with that you can put in your title, put in your headlines and all that. Because I just hope it doesn't go down the route where we had Batman v Superman, where it was that, and regards was like, okay, Batman v Superman, awesome. Dawn of Justice. Wait, what? Just stick with Batman v Superman, can we? Do we have to add in Dawn of Justice?
Yeah. True story. I never liked the title, and here's why. I remember when they were picking out. This is when all the speculation was being determined about what the name of that movie was going to be. Is it going to be Batman versus Superman, which would have been that should have been your title to begin with. It really should have been. They were just trying to do Superman: The Return of the Dark Knight. There was going to be all kinds of things that were going to be out there. Could it be World's Finest? That would have been another good option too.
Right.
The problem is nobody would really know what it would be. And when they pick out the names, when they said Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, I'm like, that's a lot. That's too much in a title. It doesn't roll off your tongue like Batman, Superman.
Well,
you know.
And then Dawn of Justice, you realize those are like two separate titles. You can have Batman v Superman, ended right there on one movie, and then another movie, Dawn of Justice.
Right.
See, they're two titles they just smashed together at that point. It's like, keep it simple, really, in essence, because you don't want to put too much in a title, essentially.
Right.
Not in terms of words, but concepts, shall we say.
Right. And I know I reiterate this all the time. I still believe that Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice was 3 movies that could have been separated. I really do.
Yes,
you had a origin Batman story in there, but in a way, just telling a new Batman story, which should have been just the Batman. Tell us how, what's going on with this Batman, how Robin died, spoiler alert. And how, what's Superman doing now that, everybody knows he exists? And then Batman somehow finds out, sure, at the very end that, he does his planning maybe what's going on with Superman. Is this guy friend or foe? And then it leads into the big movie. I don't know. Maybe that's too much. Maybe even that's too much. I have no idea. And we can't. It's never going to happen. That's the thing. Now they have to backpedal. I will say that, especially with the stuff that we saw at Comic-Con yesterday, all the Wonder Woman stuff. I'm really hyped for that. I'm really hyped for that.
Exactly.
Exactly. Do I think Gal Gadot is a great actress? I don't know, because she was a soldier at one time. In real life, she was an Israeli soldier. I could be wrong.
Israeli, if I'm not mistaken, yes.
And she was a model. And then she ended up in the Fast and Furious franchise, and now she's Wonder Woman, which is the most iconic female superhero. Hate me if you will, if you're a Black Widow fan, but it's true.
Sorry, it's
yeah.
Wonder Woman will beat Black Widow any day of the week. No matter what.
Triggered.
Yeah. Standalone movies. I know how I feel about that. Even watching, and Brad loves he hates it when I talk about this. I say the Arrow universe because I'm a big fan. But how they do the shared universe on there, it works. I just watched a crossover episode on that with Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow. They're setting that up, and for Flash, and it works. Now, to do that in the movie universe, it's harder because you don't have as many episodes to do it with. So and if you want to do the Marvel approach, sure, that works, but it doesn't have to be done by everybody. But like I said, I'm treading on stuff I always talk about all the time. We heard that Deathstroke is going to be the main villain. Affleck also commented saying he's a great villain because I just had an instinctive feeling that he would be a good matchup with him. I'm a big admirer of the character as well, especially in the New 52, the way they did Deathstroke, and I thought it could work. So, I know last time, actually, Bradley, you were on here when there was announced about Deathstroke. So, I'm excited to see Deathstroke in there, especially now it's going to be Joe Manganiello, I think that's how you say his name. Sofia Vergara's husband. That's who it is. Her hubby. I think I'm real excited about him being Deathstroke. I think he definitely fits the look of Deathstroke. And, the movies I've seen him in, I think he can definitely bring it. I want to see him fight Batman. I really do, especially Ben Affleck's Batman. Because we're talking about 2 super jack guys going at each other. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a good fight. And
if they do what they showed off in that little pre-teaser trailer and everything that they showed off, and the look alone, I'm like, I'm sold. I'm done. It's Slade Wilson right there. We're good.
I get excited when I see Deathstroke just at the cosplay costumes, anytime we're at Comic-Con. So just seeing him on the big screen, I'm just going to be like, yeah, okay, so just give me a minute. Anyway, Ben Affleck, once again, was also asked about what he thought about Batman versus Superman. He's doing a lot of press for The Accountant, so they're getting some good questions in there. He said, it's interesting. It was a huge hit movie. More people went to see it than any career movie that I've ever made in my career. It was the biggest hit of my career, and it had a lot of editorial negativity. Fans went and got a lot of positive response. It was interesting that the movie, because it was judged not necessarily on execution so much as its tone. People seemed to want to have a lighter tone to the movie, and I thought that was interesting. Tone isn't a qualitative thing. It's subjective, right? Some tones resonate with me that might not with you, and the tone of the movie was really parallel to the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns comic, which I really liked and thought was great. I'm glad that so many people went and so many people liked the movie. So there you go. And he said he loved it. Bradley, you have not seen the BVS, the Ultimate Edition yet, have you? The Ultimate Cut.
The Ultimate Cut, I have not
Okay.
seen. I've only seen the theatrical trailer, the theatrical version that we saw. I
Yeah.
did not see the extended one that they did on DVD, which I know on Blu-ray, which I know you have, and you've been bugging me like there's no tomorrow. to
I'll
see
make
that
the
one.
argument that it does it makes things flow better. It really does. And you see more of Superman in there, and it's just like some unanswered questions that you even asked me yesterday. I'm like, that's why you see the Ultimate Cut. I don't like how Warner Brothers did it. Believe me, I do not like how they went about doing it. And guess what? They're about to do it again. Because you know why? Suicide Squad Extended Cut just announced. Yeah.
Suicide Squad 2, you can kind of tell in there. There were some
Right.
cuts in there that are like, stuff didn't really may have made sense. So they're saying they're having about 13 minutes more of extended cut, which I honestly think there probably should have been more maybe in there.
Well, I'm
compared
glad
to
you
it, but
mentioned that.
We'll see. I mean, speculation. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
It has been announced that the digital HD version will be available on November 15th, and the Blu-ray will be out on December 13th. Suicide Squad Extended Cut will include 13 minutes of extra footage that was not shown in theaters. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of how it should have ended, saying, it's okay, they'll make an extended cut.
Yeah.
That'll make everything better. And I just remember that the Jared Leto interview saying, yeah, I had about like another 30, almost 45 minutes, maybe more of my footage in there, and it wasn't shown. And who knows if it'll see the light of day. And now at least we're going to get to see this. I know just the quick trailer that they showed, you see a couple new scenes with Harley Quinn. It's the one of her when she was still Dr. Harleen Quinzel. It's the one where we saw the pictures of her when they were filming it, and she's on the motorcycle, she's stopping the car, she's pointing the gun. I think they're actually going to show that in there, so I'd be really interested to see that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely interested in seeing like what was actually cut that may have been. I don't think it was for artistic value. It was just they needed to short it down the time. Let's be honest for that. But still, it would be interesting just to see maybe the alternative scenes. Like what did they actually take out from Jared Leto? But sadly, we probably will not see those unless they release another edition that has all that.
This is the extreme
knows?
extended cut, ultimate cut. You know, it's going to be like
Yeah,
5 different versions of Blade Runner.
Watchmen version.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm excited because I'm going to buy this as soon as it comes available in HD. Digital HD. But the problem is that, why do they keep doing this? Because I had that feeling this is going to be even better, just like the Ultimate Cut was for Batman v Superman. And it's like, well, why didn't you release this? You had that chance. And they just, I don't know. Like I said, I hope they get their act together. I hope that Wonder Woman, it's actually a good film. Kind of like, just like in the vein of Man of Steel. It was just, I don't know how you feel about Man of Steel. I think it's probably one of the better comic book movies out there. It's up there with Batman Begins for me. And it's almost essentially the same idea. And they have like some really, they hit some really interesting tones and elements in that movie that, I haven't really seen in a superhero movie. But I will say that, Suicide Squad, it was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it. I remember you and I saw it together. We're like, I don't know why I was getting all the hate.
That's one thing I honestly believe the critics thought it was trendy just to hate on that film. It's not a perfect film. Sure, the storyline is a little bit, in certain areas where it's like it doesn't really flow together. But honestly, it was a great flick. Just, it was a fun film is what it was. And that's what I really wanted. I wanted a fun film. I wanted the characters to have fun. I was getting tired of Superman, of all people, being mopey. I wanted him to crack a damn smile. That's what I had in this. I had villains that were out there having fun in their element. Sure, they're Suicide Squad and that whole background, but I didn't care. I just wanted to see characters have fun, and that's what it was. It had enough action in there. The story was just enough to get me by and where they were going. It could have been just a little bit better, but at the end of the day, I enjoyed it. And I look back at the credits and go, what the heck film did you see?
I have
Because
no
you
idea.
clearly didn't see the same one I saw. So,
Yeah.
But then again, the box office reports clearly reflect what the mass media thought over the critics. So.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm tired of getting these cuts, but at the same time, I'm just like eager to see what other footage was in there because they show stuff in the trailer that was not there. The people like I said, the footage that I don't know. Anyway, though,
at the end of the day, what I say to the film companies is, from the very beginning, just make a good film. Don't make a film that has to hit all the check boxes that's gonna, make millions of dollars because it's guaranteed this has worked in the past. No. Just make a good film from the beginning. That's why we had films like Deadpool.
Oh, well, I'm glad you brought that up.
Film.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. It's like, just make a good film. When you make a good film, people will go see it and say, hey, go see this because it's a good film. It's a fun film.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be a film, or it could be a good movie. Let's say movie, because film and a movie are two separate things to you,
Sure.
Let's be honest.
Daniel Day-Lewis makes films, okay?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of somebody who makes a movie. I don't know. Anyway, Ryan Reynolds makes films and movies, but I'm glad that you brought that up about Deadpool because, of course, the comparisons have been there with Suicide Squad. And I remember when you and I and our friend James, we saw the test footage. It was supposedly leaked for Deadpool. What do you think? And this is just off the top of my head. Why wouldn't the studios do more like that? They leak this test footage of what they have, and just see how the public reacts to it.
Because the reason is because they get that, but it's literally all it is the suits in the business, up in the ivory towers. They look at the intellectual property and say, well, think about this. This is a new movie. We've never done this before. There's the risk factor of going into it and seeing if this thing bombs. And we're like, we don't know if there's a big thing because they're suits. They don't know the material. They don't know the fan base and how well it's going to guaranteed. So they quote unquote leak it to see how viral it became. And of course, it exploded when it was released. And they're like, oh, there's a demand for this. There's a certain percentage chance that the people who saw this are going to go see the film. So that may make it more of an incentive to make the film. So again, it's all the risk factor because at the end of the day, the film companies, they're a business. They're there to make money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So they have to figure out the way to maximize the way to make a profit. And if certain intellectual property doesn't seem it seems too high risk, they're not going to do that, which sadly I think the film company should do more high risk because let's be honest, they have enough money to do it.
Yeah, I mean,
they can take a hit for the next so many years.
Sooner or later,
start feeling it.
Yeah, sooner or later, Mr. Burns and Smithers, they're really going to push it too far, honestly. I will say that,
I'm getting sick and tired of mediocrity that goes in there because you take the safe route.
Yeah.
Stop doing the safe route. Go a little bit, try something a little bit different.
Right.
If it doesn't work, we can give you the fans and the critics can give you the feedback saying, here's how you make it better for the next time. Because let's be honest, you might have the enough rebounded from there to make the next one.
Absolutely,
like
yeah.
So.
And I mean, I've said it before. I'll say it again. DC are, the DC film universe. That is, they have been pussies. They really have.
Yeah.
Pardon my language, but it is true. They have not taken that. All right, we had Batman 1966. Obviously, we weren't born at that time. You weren't born in time for Batman 89. I just was around there. But taking something so lighthearted and then turning it dark like that just, I mean, no one saw that coming. And even if they did, and you have an actor like, and I've said it before, Michael Keaton, and he wasn't like the biggest name, and not a lot of people were excited to see him because he was doing more kind of not family comedies. I mean, he had Beetlejuice, but I will say like Mr. Mom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, sure, Jack Nicholson's a big name, but you put that and that's how you're going to do your Batman movie. Boom. It just blew everybody away and silenced the crowd. I want more. Then we got Batman Returns, but then it would apparently it might be too dark. Well, and then we've seen, in the words of Lex Luthor, we know better than that, don't we? So I'm sorry, that was the Riddler. Same difference. And so yeah, I mean, you can't please everybody, but at the same time, you still have to just make the best movie you can. And I'm not saying you can't think about. Don't do fan service. It's great. Do fan service. If you're, I mean, usually now, I think nowadays now, most directors are more fans. We're in a generation of the J.J. Abrams, the Zack Snyders that are fans. They're trying to do all this stuff. And sometimes it's not working out the way that the other filmmakers are. I mean, there are still good filmmakers out there. I'm just saying that sometimes they're paying too much homage and maybe the story's not coming across as well as it should. So yeah, I will leave my rant at that.
So there is that balancing act you have to do and then realize what a time constraint you kind of have to put the film into that the studio kind of puts you into. Because let's be honest, you do want to make a film, but you're probably your fan-produced film that you want to make, to make the pure essence of a Batman as a director, you're probably going to make it a 5-hour long feature. Let's be honest.
Absolutely. 4 hours. 4 hours.
And tack that down. Yeah, try to get all the Lord of the Rings in three
Dear
movies.
God. Yeah. So
extended cuts.
you will need to take multiple potty breaks to see this movie in theaters because there's going to be 3 different endings.
I hope you got a long weekend ahead of you.
Yeah, definitely. One last news story I did want to talk about is that Daniel Craig, they were talking with the producers. It's actually the executive producer for the last couple Bond movies. His name is Callum McDougall. He was talking in an interview with BBC about Daniel Craig, and he said that Daniel Craig remains the first choice for producers Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson. When he was asked about if Craig would return to play, he said, "I wish I knew. We love Daniel. We would love Daniel to return as Bond. Without any question, he's absolutely Michael G. Wilson and Barbara Broccoli's first choice. I know they're hoping for him to come back." So, once again, it's still to be determined. I can tell you at the time of recording this, and who knows, it might have broke by now, that Daniel Craig was supposed to do some kind of interview at some festival today, not New York Comic Con. But I'm sure he is going to be asked the question if he is going to return to be James Bond one more time.
Easily he'll be asked that. And either he's, actually just fed up and decides, nah, I don't feel like doing it, or this is all just, building it up so that when he finally releases, everybody goes, oh my God, build the hype up for it and be like, oh, he said he wasn't going to do it, but now he is. So who knows exactly.
But here's the thing. I'm not so much concerned about, of course, I'd love to see Daniel Craig come back. I want to know what's going on behind the scenes of the studios, because remember, MGM is in a bidding war right now where, Sony doesn't have control of MGM anymore like they have for the last 4 Craig movies. So it could go to Warner Brothers. And my idea is that if it goes to another studio, they might just want to do a complete reboot. It's like, okay, well, if Craig's going to be like this, then forget it. We'll just we'll reboot this thing because that's the trendy thing to do nowadays, and it might be in the best interest because who knows. So just thought I'd share that and throw that out there. So all right, let's get to some birthdays here, Brad. Couple birthdays here. Fiona Fullerton celebrates a birthday October 10th. She played Paula Ivanova in A View to a Kill. I don't know about you, but I know that there's a lot of Bond fans out there, like myself, that love a certain part of her. Well, let me rephrase that.
You go on.
There's a certain part in that View to a Kill movie where Roger Moore's on his 4th or 5th girl by then, and he is in. He
even has the pants on one leg at that time.
He's in San Francisco, and he just was spying on Christopher Walken, and he meets up with this Russian agent, Paula Ivanova, and they go to this thing called like the bathhouse, and they're in like one of those hot tubs, and he gets out of there. He's like, why don't we put something on a little bit more intimate or something along those lines? And he gets out of the water. Then he turns on Tchaikovsky, and she's like, Tchaikovsky, the bubbles tickle my. I was like, all right, you can't get away with that in a PG film these days. And then,
no, you can't.
No, but boy, was she was, she was probably like the 3rd round Bond girl in there, but still she played it well. So yeah. This next birthday, speaking of the devil, Roger Moore himself will be celebrating a birthday on October 14th. He was known for portraying James Bond in, let's see if I can do this, Live and Let Die, Man with the Golden Gun, The Spy Who Loved Me, Moonraker, For Your Eyes Only, Octopussy, and A View to a Kill. Longest running Bond ever.
Yes.
Yeah, and some people say, oh, his Bond was more lighthearted, it was kind of sometimes campy. Go back and watch some of those movies, especially here's one I would definitely recommend. For Your Eyes Only. That would probably be his most serious rendition of a James Bond, and it definitely was. It was. I won't say it was kind of darker in a way, for at least the Roger Moore anyway. And I think it's probably one of his best performances is James Bond. Now, my favorite one might be The Spy Who Loved Me, but I will say that those two would definitely be my top ones. How about you?
Now, to be honest, I know, especially when it comes to Bonds, Roger Moore to me is actually not my personal favorite, to be honest.
I know.
And it's very much because to me, I guess because it's the age thing to it, and they do get a little bit campy in them, especially that go with it. Especially, I do harp on this one, especially, but you can tell, especially when it comes to Bond, it is of the time.
Yes.
And that is Live and Let Die. Because for a film, especially for Bond, that I have to rank on, I'm like, really, Bond goes up a mobster gangster, but you can tell it was also during the black exploitation style film, so it was styled almost in that. And I'm just like, okay, if the CIA agent, my God, why am I blanking on his name?
Felix Leiter.
Felix, yeah. If Felix turns and goes like he needs a car, he just turns and goes, "Get me a pimp mobile," and that's his line in a film. I'm like, okay, I'm out. I can't do this. I can't.
We have to remember that sometimes with the Bond movies, especially, you have to remember the time that was going on. Things were going on, and I will even throw that back to Goldfinger. You can't just slap a girl in the ass. Go move along, sweetheart. Man talk. And
move along, Dink. I was like, oh man.
With Live and Let Die, yes, it was definitely a period piece of that. But $20 I'll take for $20 I'll take you to a Ku Klux Klan convention.
Yeah, that line too. I was like,
yeah,
oh
and
God.
but it was the change of what was the old rendition, and it was like, okay, well, this is what they're going with, and overall, Live and Let Die is a great Bond movie. It really is. And it's just, it's less gadgets, more chase sequences. You have George Harrison doing the score of one of the Beatles doing the score, and one of the Beatles doing the main theme. Paul McCartney, Live and Let Die.
With his band at the time, especially with that.
And the Wings, yeah.
Exactly. Wings.
Yeah. But if you had to pick your favorite Roger Moore Bond movie, what would it be?
View to Kill, I guess, and make it easy with that one.
Okay.
It's probably what I would go with.
That's a good choice because I was actually the first Roger Moore Bond movie I ever saw. Okay. I liked it because Christopher Walken. I think he plays a great villain in that.
Christopher Walken can, especially. It's surprising that now we see him more in comedic roles, just in his style. But back in the day, he was more the villain. Even Batman Returns is the villain.
There's that connection, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I think he was even more fierce than that. But him taking the Uzi to all the workers at the very end of View to a Kill, that's pretty ruthless. And he's smiling and laughing about it. That's pretty sincere there. All right. Let's do a couple more birthdays here. Gotts Otto. I know you don't know the name, but he celebrates a birthday October 15th. He was Mr. Stamper in Tomorrow Never Dies. So much for German efficiency, Mr. Stamper. I like that. The favorite part of mine in there is when they're trying to get to the car and he's talking to Dr. Kaufman. If you remember this, sir, they can't get into the car. Did you call the auto club? Do you want to call them? Make him tell you how to get into the car. It was so good. I don't remember Dr. Kaufman's name. I know we're going off track, but yeah, it was really good. Gotts Otto, he played that. Mr. Stamper's character was kind of like, it was your typical henchman, but I did like, right. I enjoyed him in there. It was, that was more. Go ahead.
Even the henchman can be even more memorable too. For God's sakes, I just say Jaws, and you're like, oh, but he wasn't really the villain. He was a henchman.
Oh yeah,
alone by itself. So even them can be the more memorable ones too.
Right. Absolutely.
Mr. Hinks.
Oh, was he in the film at all?
Oh.
We'll talk about that another time. Yeah. Tanya Roberts celebrates a birthday also on October 15th. You know her as Stacey Sutton in your favorite Roger Moore movie, A View to a Kill. Maybe not the most favorite of Bond girls. At the time, though, she was just coming off Charlie's Angels, I understand. And she's... she's Tanya Roberts. She's Tanya Roberts.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And this last one, Everett McGill celebrates a birthday October 21st. He played Ed Kilfer in License to Kill, one of my favorite underrated Bond movies because it is a combination of James Bond meets Die Hard. And he was the guy, he would say, he was a friend of Felix Leiter's. I think he was working with the DEA, if I'm not mistaken. He's the one who let Sanchez go. He took one of his $1 million bribes, and Sanchez is like, 2 million. He's like, 2 million. Sorry, old buddy, but 2 million's a lot of chunk of dough. And then what's his name? Timothy Dalton's like, you wanted it, you've earned it, old buddy. and then tosses the money to him as he's hanging from the rope. And then Sharky's like, what a waste of money. So it was good. So definitely check those out if you have never seen those movies. So let's finish it up tonight with versus. This is the part of the show where we compare movies of the Batman or James Bond universes versus other franchises in the same wheelhouse. Last week's versus, and I hope you voted, Bradley, was a dedication to special Global James Bond Day. It was On Her Majesty's Secret Service versus Casino Royale. Never in the history of versus has it come down so close to the wire where I have even gotten messages on there saying, this is my reason for this. This is my reason for this. I'm like, for God's sakes, man, just make up your mind.
You just want to be white and black, but no, there's just a
No,
gray
I knew what I was doing when I did this. I was like, okay, here we have two of the most sacred James Bond movies, maybe the two best James Bond movies ever, and how am I going to have people decide on this? Because there's no wrong answer on this. And that's what I was saying is, no matter what you say, no matter what, they're both great Bond movies, and I wish we could, eventually there'll be another one that will meet up with that higher rank. I'm not, and to each his own about these movies, but when it comes to the Bond fans, that these two are like national treasures. So it ended up coming in with On Her Majesty's Secret Service winning with 59% and Casino Royale at 41%. Gotta say, I'm not surprised about that. I thought it was going to be just a tad bit closer. I was hoping it was going to be a little bit more neck and neck. It was for a little while, but yeah. So the crowd has spoken. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is this year's winner of the best Bond movie. Or the favorite James Bond movie that is anyway. But hey, there's so many to choose from. Depends on what you're into. Like I said, watching GoldenEye last week. Who knows what I'll be watching this weekend? I could watch Goldfinger. I don't know. So we'll see. So this week's versus is Goldfinger versus Batman 89. Now,
interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. There might not even be too many comparisons in there. Who knows? But I just thought it was going to be an interesting matchup because I'm leading up to something. It is Decision 2016. We're not going to be we're not talking politics here, folks. We're going to be talking about Bond movies versus Batman movies. Who would win in the ultimate fight? That's what I'm leading up to. So make sure that you vote. I will post this on Twitter the day after you listen to this. So
I'm waiting for the Batman and James Bond debates tonight on CNN so that I can finally make my decision which party to vote for. I'm already in the pizza party, let's be honest.
Well, let's say, God. I'm a member of the National Martini Association.
Oh, it was good. It's class. It's a big class here.
I'm a member of the National Rubber Tights Party. I'm at home washing my tights. Oh, yeah. So that wraps it up for this episode of the Batman vs. James Bond show. Please subscribe on iTunes, rate it 5 stars, and leave a nice little review for me on there. Thank you. Follow me on all the various social media networks, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Batman vs. Bond. Bradley, where can people find you? I hear you're a part of something that's about to be resurrected.
I know. It's come back from the dead slowly. I'm just getting
It was never dead. It was just there.
It was never dead. Yeah, we just went on a little bit of a hiatus, had to do a little bit of reforming, but you'll find us back at the Bantering Bows show. Bantering Bows on Facebook, Instagram, where I'll be posting all the pictures from New York Comic Con. I'm going to be spreading it out over the few days, so not to flood you all at once and get you all, sick of seeing Comic Con, because that's all that's coming out right now, especially. But putting up there, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, I believe we do have as well. But the Bantering Bows show, do check it out.
Yep, at Bantering Bows, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay, awesome. Bradley, once again, thanks for being on the show, buddy. I always love having you on here. We always have good conversations. Pretty much, actually, I will throw this out there. Anytime, what you hear when Bradley and I talk, this is how we talk when we're just in person. It's exactly how it is. Yeah, that's. I mean, there's no faking it. This is just how we are. So,
except I'm being a little bit nicer this time around.
I appreciate it. So am I. I'm holding back here. I'm holding back.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for coming on the show, Brad. Find this show on the BS Podcast Network. You can be sure to check out this show and all the other great programming on there, including Pure BS Podcast, Science Fiction Podcast, and Horribly Awkward Podcast. Like James Bond, I will return. Until next time, I'm Brian Thomas. Thanks for listening, and have a great week, everyone. Peace out.